Am I the asshole for leaving out my vegan sister-in-law out of the family barbecue? My spouse and I got a house and we both have relatives living nearby, including our respective siblings and parents. Last year we decided to host a huge backyard barbecue party and invited friends and family. However, my spouse's sister kinda ruined it. She's a hardcore vegan, so we'll call her Erin, IYKYK. Everything out of her mouth was something vegan related and everyone was pretty annoyed and mostly avoided her. If she wasn't going on about ethics, it was about health. She was basically shaming our older friends, relatives for not wanting to take care of their bodies. She told my father that his diabetes is from eating animal fat. At one point, she even left to go to the store and returned with a ridiculous amount of vegan frozen patties, and bread and other items, and demanded we cook them up and serve them as an option. So to be nice, we cooked one pack. No one touched them. She was absolutely tiresome. Other than Erin, the barbecue was a hit. So we did it again this summer. When it comes to Erin, my spouse and I disagree. I do not engage with her and she knows I'm not fond of her. He and his parents think she is harmless, whereas my family frickin' hates her guts. I did not know this until recently, but Erin got into it with one of my cousins, Mary, last year, who tried to be friendly with Erin since Mary used to be vegan in the past but gave it up when it made her sick. Apparently Erin attacked Mary, calling her ignorant, and insisted she was doing it wrong, so I did not want Erin at this year's barbecue at all. But I did not want to cause any drama. I didn't even bring this up to my spouse. I knew that Erin was gonna go on vacation for a whole week this month, so as soon as she left, I set up the barbecue on the Saturday right before she's supposed to come back, Sunday. Everything went perfectly as planned. However, Erin saw the photos on Facebook and was pissed. She found out from my spouse that I chose the date, so she texted me that I am evil, heartless, and a bully for leaving her out. She also brought up other really personal things to attack me, so I ended up blocking her. Erin has since ran to my spouse and her parents to complain constantly and won't let it go. So what could I have done differently? Was I wrong to schedule the barbecue when she was out of town? Edit 1. A little more context. Erin absolutely knows her behavior is annoying. My mother straight up told her what we were all thinking when she made that diabetes comment to my dad. Erin also does not handle criticism well. If I went and told her that she was not welcome to the barbecue this year, she would do the same thing that she is doing now and complain to her parents and my spouse and likely show up to the barbecue anyway. I believe planning the barbecue while she was away was the best thing to do. Because she can't prove that I did it on purpose. And as far as my spouse and my other in-laws know, it was just a coincidence and not my intention at all. So no one knows I did this. Except for Reddit, haha. Edit 2. Some more context. I did not tell my spouse about my plan for this year's barbecue, but he knew that I did not want her over again. However, when I planned the barbecue the same week she was out of town, no one, and I mean absolutely no one, asked, "What about Erin?" Not my spouse, not any of my in-laws. The only time anyone even brought her up was at the barbecue when my side of the family made private comments to me asking if she was gonna show up. My mother was ready to throw down. Virtually everyone smiled ear to ear when I said she was out of town. Update. I did not expect this to blow up the way it did. And apparently one of you knows Erin in real life and sent her screenshots of this post asking if this was about her. I feel very weirded out by it, but I understand that posting this to Reddit was a risk. So Erin has been blowing up my spouse's phone since this morning and is screaming that he should divorce me for being a catalyst for hurt and deception, and that I'm a malignancy on her family that needs to be cut off. Boot. Funnily enough, after showing me her texts, my spouse turned to me and said, "My mom and I already knew you did it on purpose, but we didn't want to say anything." So we both just had a good laugh. I told my spouse that his family needs to sit her down or get an intervention or something. Because going forward, I refuse to engage with Erin in person or by phone. She's their problem, not mine. He said after seeing the comments on this thread, he's gonna back me up 100%. There's so much more I could say about why I think Erin is the way she is, but I'm sure she would appreciate it if I didn't. So, Erin, if you're reading this, accept the reality check and know that literally everyone is sick of your shit. And I wouldn't comment anything if I were you, because these Redditors will more than likely find out your real name and background, and I don't think you can handle that. Winking face. Not the asshole. Your intention is to avoid conflict, but without your husband's support, you'll always be stuck with this Erin problem. And you can't pull the same move twice. You need a long-term plan or at least get your husband on your side. Not the asshole. I think it's perfectly acceptable not to invite someone who has a history of souring the mood at past events. She has shown that she cannot be a well-behaved guest. Info. Did you have any food for Erin to eat at last year's barbecue? Asking because you say at some point she went out and bought veggie burgers. Not the asshole. Her behavior is the issue, not her veganism. Spell it out, broken record. She will be invited when she can mix with people and not be rude and insulting. Simples. Appropriately named. It seems tears of joy. Am I the asshole for not taking a picture of my check and sending it to my boyfriend? Hi. I 18F and my boyfriend 20M have been together for around 2 years and have known each other for 3. Currently I'm away from him as I am starting university in a new city this September. Meanwhile he hasn't heard back from any apartment, so he cannot move here yet. My grandparents decided to help with my tuition this year and wrote me a check for a decent portion of it. I told my boyfriend I was going to deposit my check at the bank but ultimately could not end up doing the deposit because of fees and the deposit wait time. So I took the check back to discuss a solution with my grandparents later. Ever since I was on way home he's been texting me bugging for a picture of the front of the check. I kept telling him why he wants to see the check and that it's just any other normal check. But he said that, oh, my mind just wants to see it and I won't be satisfied until I do. I offered to show a portion of it over video call, but I refused to text a picture in case my account or his gets compromised and someone takes the picture and does something with it. Now he's refusing to text me until he sees a picture. He refuses to do a video call to see it and only wants a picture. I don't know why, but I don't trust putting things like this out there. I'm just trying to take some safety measures. He's never been so nosy over a piece of money before. I told him it's my check and I can do what I want with it. But he still refuses to talk. Am I the asshole? Update. It's been 3 hours and I know for a fact he is off work, but he still hasn't texted. I'm not going to reply or say anything or start conversation. It's simply childish at this point. Thanks all for the advice, and I wasn't going to show the check under any circumstances. If anything else comes up I'll keep you guys updated. Update 2. Okay, so he's replied like 4 minutes after I posted that first update. He sent a picture of an example of a check and colored out the numbers on the bottom. And told me to send it like this. After that he sent a text, a blob of text. I'm that type of person to repeat words until I get it. Even if it's years and I wouldn't care about it anymore, but I will get it eventually, then get rid of it after the sight. Anyway, I'm not going to reply for a bit until I can think of an appropriate response. I'm currently not in the headspace for it. Honestly, not surprised he's still dragging it on. Why did I choose to date this guy? Well, I will start off saying that I don't have good parents. I had a tough upbringing, I have anxiety, and I'm not sure what else. When I was 14, we moved to an isolated fly-in community in the Arctic. Population 150. This made it worse because I was stuck with my family 24/7. Basically, I was severely depressed when we first moved there, because I was constantly stuck under my parents. My mental health was so bad because I was stuck at home. I told people, and they did nothing. So, when I met my boyfriend and began to go to his house, it was basically 100% better than the situation at home. I basically went to his house every day to escape the situation at home. They even offered me to move in with them. His parents treated me well. I ate and never got yelled at. And basically that was my routine until I recently moved away from that community. To me, being with him was way better than being around my parents. So I guess I'm only now realizing what's wrong because I have my own bearings now. While I adore his parents, and all they've done for me, especially his mother, I now can't see myself making it work with him specifically. Update 3. So I talked with my grandparents and I'll be depositing the check tomorrow despite the wait time and fee. So the check will go bye-bye. Can't beg me for a check I don't have. Not the asshole. He's probably trying to steal it from you. I dunno about your bank, but I can pay in checks by taking a photo of the check via my banking app. I use Starling in the UK, on my phone. I know love can be a wee bit overwhelming and nice when you're that age. I'm comfortably old enough to be your dad. But for me his excessive interest in your money is a red flag. I'm not saying break up with him, but be wary and definitely don't tell him how much it is worth, nor give him any of it. You will need it all for uni. Not the asshole, but more importantly. Boyfriend? Dude is trying to steal from you and your grandparents. XBF. Why are you dating this boy? He seems manipulative and is trying to steal from you, your grandparents. Is this an online relationship or have y'all dated in person? Not the asshole. The front of the check has valuable information. There's zero need for him to see it. If you haven't called him and spoken to him about this, do it. You may have been spoofed. If you have spoken to him and he really is insisting on this, it's a major location flag. Girl, based on last update, it sounds like he going froche you or pressure you until he gets his way no matter what. Fucking leave and see if your school offers any therapy. Am I the asshole for telling my sister that she knew what she was getting when she settled for my cast-off ex? If you had told me years ago that I would be in this situation, I would have laughed, but here we go. My boyfriend suggested that I get an outside perspective here. I, 26F, was dating James, M. 26, for most of college and we had plans to get engaged after graduation. 2 months before graduation, I caught him planning to cheat. Nothing physical seemed to have happened yet, but he and another girl were making plans for a weekend that he told me he was going for a quick visit home. Cheating is an instant deal-breaker to me, so it was over. Instead of having a fight, I didn't say anything, just waited till after he left for home. Texted him proof that I had caught him and, good thing you're single now, have fun. Then blocked him on everything and went for a girls' weekend with friends. James lost his shit and spent a month trying to get in contact with me or guilt friends into helping him. The few messages that got through I trashed without even reading them. After a while, I thought he had finally given up. About a year later, my sister, 24F, announces she wants to bring her boyfriend home to meet the family. We didn't realize she had a boyfriend, but my parents had a barbecue and told her to bring him. It was James. My parents were stunned but tried to pull it together. I just left. My sister called and tried to explain later that they had met at a party on campus and it was no big deal since I broke up with him. I told her I thought she could do better, but she could make her own mistakes. I just wouldn't be spending time around them. She got mad about it, because our parents took my side. I don't get along with my sister at the best of times, so avoiding them wasn't hard except at holidays. My parents caved and let him come to Thanksgiving and Christmas since they seemed serious. James seemed way too invested in getting back on my good side when he was around and it apparently made my sister jealous, because she started acting brattier than normal. This last weekend was a milestone birthday for my mom and I thought it would be a good chance to introduce them to my boyfriend Todd, 29M. Mom gave it the okay and Todd actually made a great impression on the family. James was there with my sister and he was pissed and left early. My sister called me later and yelled at me for upsetting James and trying to make him jealous to get his attention. I told her that she knew she was getting a cheat when she decided to date my sloppy seconds and he was no longer my problem. Since then she's blown up social media venting about it and is refusing to see my parents for the holidays if Todd and I are there. My parents think she's over the top and acting out, but she's on their case so much they want me to try and smooth it over and apologize for calling him sloppy seconds. I think it was an apt description. Edit. Wow, this blew up a lot. After reading the replies and talking with Todd, I'm going to have a conversation with my parents this weekend and set some boundaries. I've reached the end of my patience with my sister, so I'm going NC with her. Todd and I will be going to his family for Thanksgiving and we'll have to figure out a plan for Christmas. Maybe Christmas Eve with my parents without my sister and James, then Christmas Day with his parents. It's going to be a hard conversation, but I'm just not willing to put up with the ongoing soap opera anymore. I'll write out a letter for my sister explaining that I need some space from her and then block her so she can't argue and I don't have to experience the tantrum. Todd has been really sweet about the whole thing, and I know who I'd rather spend time around if it's going to end up being a pissing match about whose boyfriend can come to family events. Not the asshole. You can choose your friends and your boyfriends, but you can't choose your family. Your sister and James are a perfect match for each other. Not the asshole. It almost appears that James is dating your sister to get back at you, and she is blissfully ignorant of that fact. Not the asshole. Your sister refuses to accept that not only did she get your cast off, he's also not worth the drama and issues this has brought in the family. If she's angry at you instead of with him because he got jealous, then she's being ridiculous, and apologizing for it isn't gonna make her see sense. Not the asshole. She clearly started to date him to one-up you. But does she expect you to never date as long as she is with James in order to not make him jealous? Don't apologize. Because if you do, she will try to control your dating life through your parents. So she is allowed to bring your ex to family functions. But you can't bring a new BF? Her logic astounds me. So you're supposed to never date again for the sake of her BF? If he is getting jealous of you dating other guys, he obviously shouldn't be dating her. And is clearly using your sister to try get you back. Tell them both where to go. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for confronting my sister-in-laws for not inviting me out? I, 25 female, have been married to my husband for about 2 years now. My husband has 3 older sisters, 38 female, 39 female, and 40 female. One lives in another country. Jenny doesn't really have contact with her family. The one who lives close to me, Helen, is very closed off. She's nice when I see her but has always declined every invitation I've offered for her to come hang out with me, go out. The one from another state, Karen, is very friendly with me. Calls and texts me often and we are very close. We spoke a lot about hanging out when she comes, having sleepovers, breakfast dates, gym dates and such. I was very excited for her to come because I live far from my sisters. Karen was the one who initiated these conversations. She came to our state to visit for the summer and stayed primarily at her sister's house, which is expected and I wasn't offended, especially because they live so close. They started going to the gym without me, not inviting me, and going out by themselves and with our mutual friend group without me. I was upset but didn't say anything to them or my husband. I asked when they were free to hang out a few times and I was brushed off so I stopped asking. We were all invited to a family member's house and they mentioned going out with our mutual friend group. When they realized they mentioned plans in front of me they asked if I wanted to come. I said sure, thinking the plans were last minute and I was hearing about it in real time, shaking off the weird feeling I had. When I got there I realized that these were plans made in advance in a group chat that I am not in and I was not meant to be invited. There is a group chat I am in, it was just not used. I was super embarrassed feeling like I intruded but again said nothing. When I got home my husband asked how his sisters were and after some prodding he tells me they had called him that morning upset about having invited me, feeling like they felt obligated to invite me, and how they shouldn't have to take me everywhere and they just wanted to hang out with their friends without me. He didn't like that and put them in their place. Just to clarify, the only time I've seen them is when we did group activities with their kids or their parents 3 times, and she slept at my house once. I didn't go to any of their other outings with them and at this point she has been here for 3 weeks. Feeling offended and embarrassed, I texted them apologizing for overstepping on their toes and reiterating to them that they aren't obligated to invite me or include me if they don't want to. They responded that of course they want to hang out with me and they don't feel obligated. Then they called my husband upset that he told me what they said. I feel like maybe I shouldn't have said anything but I feel really offended and annoyed. I understand that there is an age gap, and that they're sisters and that I won't be invited to everything but am I the asshole confronting them? And #X200B. Edit. For more context and clarification. The sister who lives close to me, Helen, has made it clear she keeps me at arm's length. She's not interested in another sister and she just keeps to herself and that's fine. So I stopped reaching out. Which is fine. The sister who lives far, Karen, has made efforts, since even before I was married, to be close with me. She calls and texts and includes me in everything. So her coming and then kinda ditching me was a surprise to me. But due to some incidents in the past that are now coming to memory, I wouldn't be surprised if this has more to do with Helen not wanting me around, more so than Karen. Which would make sense. You didn't confront them. You apologized to them for something they felt you'd done wrong. They sound fairly awful. Just leave them be and don't expect to be friends with your husband's sisters. How did you end up on the chat list? It is odd that you are kind of the only one who didn't got invited. Seriously, that is so teenager behavior from the sisters. Obviously they don't care about you, so the only thing you can do is ask them what kind of relationship they want with you because it's obvious that they don't want to be your family. Not the asshole. Wow. So they invited you because they realized they were talking about an upcoming outing in front of you, and they actually call your husband to rant about you having the colossal nerve to accept the one invitation that gets thrown out, and acting like, why do we always have to include her? Forget them. Not the asshole, you didn't overstep. This was a normal level of involvement. I'm sorry they are excluding you, it sounds very hurtful. Not the asshole. They are two-faced. Don't hang with them anymore.